Hey you guys, welcome back. Today's 3-Look-1 palette review is going to be on the Juvia's Place, the Douce palette. This is one of their 9-pan eyeshadow palettes, and today I'm just going to chat about the formulation, the shade range. I have swatches, and then I created 3 looks using this palette. So if you guys are interested in all of that, then just continue watching. So let's go ahead and start off with some product info. This palette is $20 US originally, but right now Juvia's Place is having a sale and it is currently $10 US, which is so affordable. Although there are only 9 shadows in here, these pans are huge, like they're massive. These are probably the biggest eyeshadow pans that I own. But in this palette you do get 5 mattes and 4 metallics slash shimmers. I think when you look at this palette, well, to me when I first saw it, it was very scattered. I remember when I purchased this, because I got this actually a while ago, back when their like foundations launched last year. I remember my friend, she really pushed me to get this palette because of the color story. She wanted me to do something that was a little bit different, and this is definitely different. Like, I feel like this color story is so unique. I really haven't seen this combination of colors in one palette. I think the shades individually, I have these shades in Colourpop palette separately, but I don't have these shades all together, if that makes sense. Just because I have so many Colourpop palettes, I feel like it's very easy for me to find comparisons, but I think for the average people, you might not have these kind of shades in your collection. But overall, I really did enjoy creating 3 looks with this palette. I was quite surprised at the natural looks that I created and how wearable they were. I think when you just look at this palette, you see these 2 shades and you're just like, whoa, I can't do that. But when you actually play around the palette, the looks that you can create are very wearable. So I like how you can create very wearable shades, but then a crazy fun look like this that I'm wearing today. I like how there's that variety, especially when it's a 9-pan, there's only so much you can do. And I like how there's that variation within the 9 shadows. I did manage to play with every single shadow in the palette besides Berry Mousse. I did try it, but this shadow does blend into my skin and it looks like nothing. So I would use this shadow if I was gonna sit down my eye base, but if I had the choice, I probably would have swapped this shadow out for maybe like a medium brown or something like that. It's just these kind of shades, they just blend into my skin tone oftentimes, so I just have no purpose for them because I typically do sit down my eyes with my powder. But that's honestly just like a personal preference thing. I think if you're much lighter than me, or if you're deeper, this could be like a highlighting shade, like a matte highlighting shade, and if you're fairer than me, then this would be like a very like good transition shadow. But other than that, with all the other matte shadows, I didn't have any issues with patchiness or anything. Juvia's eyeshadow formulation is always amazing. It's one of my favorites. I think it was a fun way for me to get a little bit creative and really get my brain rolling, because I was like, what looks can I create with this? Like, what color combinations? It's a palette to me that made me think about which looks I want to create for you guys. So I think that's a good thing. And I mean, right now it's $10. I do think this palette is definitely worth to pick up, especially if you don't have any of the comparison shades that I just showed. So yeah, for $10 US, I personally would recommend it. $20 US, $20 US for 9 shadows is, you know, quite a lot, but the amount of product you are getting is a lot. It's just that this palette alone is not a palette that I'm always going to gravitate towards as an everyday palette, but I think for $10 US, it's a really great deal right now, so I highly would recommend it. I know that Juvia's Place always has sales on their eyeshadows, so always keep an eye out because they're constantly having sales. So that's pretty much all I had to say about the palette, just keeping it very short, nice and sweet. But with that being said, we can now move into my 3 looks. So for the first look, I'm gonna start off with the shade Crips, and this is going to be our transition shadow. I'm just going to work that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions, blending that up towards my brow bone. This shadow in the pan does look like a burnt orange, but once you work the shadow into your skin, it does turn into more of like a terracotta light peach shadow. So it looks a little bit different than it does in the pan, but nonetheless it is a very pretty transition shadow. And I'm also going to take the shadow onto my lower lash line as well. Then taking the shade Chocolate, I'm going to work this at the outer third of my eyes, just using circular motions to get the outer corners very, very dark. I want most of the product there. I'm not really bringing anything towards the inner third of my lid space. I also take the shadow onto my lower lash line as well, just pretty much repeating the same thing, just focusing it at the outer third. Now taking the shade Puffs, I am using this shadow wet, and this is going in the inner third of our lid space. I am diffusing this metallic shadow out around my crease area, making sure that there are no harsh lines. I want this to be like smooth and diffused. I also like to take this shadow in towards the inner corners of my eyes to highlight that area, and I do take some of the shadow onto my brow bone as well. But now I'm just taking a brown liquid liner. I'm going to use this to line my eyes and also create a little wing. But I'll also go back into Chocolate to smoke this out and make it a little bit more diffused to tie in with this soft glam. And this, you guys, is the first look completed. For the first look, I wanted to create something that was more on the soft glam side, something that you guys could wear to like brunch or just like a daytime activity. It's not too dramatic glam, but it's not really on the natural side either. And definitely these tones and this technique is something that I would do when I'm not filming. So I really enjoyed this first look, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And now for the second look, we're going to also be starting off with the shade Crisp as our transition shadow. I'm just going to work that into my crease using windshield wiping motions and then slowly blend that up towards our brow bone. I'm also going to take this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, just sweeping that from the outer corner right to the inner corner. And then going into the shade Chocolate, I'm going to pack this onto my lid. I'm going to pack the most pigmentation on my lid space first, and then I'm going to blend up slowly. I just want the darkness to be on the lid space, and wherever your brush touches first, that's where the most pigmentation is going to go. So just making sure that you are packing it on and then blending it up. I am also taking this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, but this time I am taking more of like a defining brush, and I'm going to press this up against my waterline instead. And then taking Mont Blanc, I am using this shadow wet. I'm going to place this at the center of my eyes. Again, wherever your brush touches first, that's where the most pigmentation is going to be. So I want it right at the center, and then I will start squishing left and right to diffuse this out, and it's going to give us a very pretty halo eye effect, which I love. And especially with a metallic like this where it has a lot of specks of glitters, it really does shine through against the darker shadows. But now I am just taking a black liquid liner, and I'm going to use this to line my eyes and also create a little baby wing. I'll also take a black eyeshadow to smudge that out and extend that wing and make it quite dramatic for today's look. And lastly, just taking my RCMA moisture eyeliner in the shade Coffee, I'm going to use this to tightline my entire bottom waterline. So this, you guys, is the second look completed. I did just add these little gems underneath my eyes at the center to kind of pull the whole entire halo eye look together. I think it's a really great way to just jazz up a simple old eye look. But I hope you guys did enjoy the second look. It was very simple, just 3 shadows, but this eye look looks very glam. It looks like it took a lot of effort, but in reality, it's a very quick eye look to create. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this second look. And now onto the final look. I'm gonna start off with the shade Creme, and this is going to be our transition shadow slash all over base shade. So I'm just working that into my crease, blowing that out up towards my brow bone, towards the outer corners, and as well on my lid, just really blowing out this shadow. I'm then moving into the shade Custard, and I'm going to first work this at the outer corners of my eyes, but then I pretty much bring all of that product in towards the inner part of my lids and just pretty much smoke it out on my lid space. I'm going to blend it up towards my crease area, but I'm not going to bring it all the way up towards my brow bone, just stopping it at the crease. Now taking macaroons, I am using this shadow Wet, and I'm going to place this at the inner third of my eyes. I wanted this look to look a little bit like a cut crease, but I didn't want to use a concealer to cut out my crease, so I'm using this metallic shadow Wet to cut out my crease, if that makes sense. So I'm just working in baby steps, first just placing that onto my lid space, and then I will bring it up past my natural fold of my crease. And because the metallic shadow is wet, it's going to be very high shine. This alone can cut out your crease, but I would say it's more of like a soft half cut crease. Like, you definitely can see the cut crease line, but it's a little bit more diffuse, which is the first time I'm doing this sort of technique. So it's a little bit easier than doing a half cut crease. Like, if you find it too intimidating, then maybe go with this route. I then took chocolate to line and define my lash line. I also gave myself a little baby wing. Because this look is a little bit more brighter, I think using like a brown shadow to line your lash line, it appears more softer and it goes with the vibe of the eye look. Going back into the shade Custard, I'm going to run this on my lower lash line. I'm going to focus this product more towards the outer corners and the middle of my lower lash. And lastly, I am just taking Tarte. I'm going to use this to highlight my inner corners and also the inner part of my lower lash line as well. And this, you guys, is the final look completed. This look is for those of you guys that don't really want to do cut creases, you find them a bit intimidating or too hard, or you just don't have the time to do it. I think this is a really nice way to achieve a cut crease effect, but just less products and less time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this final look. I really liked the color combination, something very fun, unique, and I hope you guys enjoyed this final look that didn't include a cut crease. Alright you guys, so those were my 3 looks completed. Be sure to let me know which look out of the 3 was your favorite. I personally like all of them. I think they all give a different vibe. I love hearing your feedback and just chatting with you guys after every upload. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it so much if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys. Please stay safe and stay inside if you can. But I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!